All right, we should be live. I man, I was struggling this morning to get this in order. Let me fix my camera a little bit. I don't know. Can you hear me? You now I gotta go do something. Give me a second, I'll be back. All right. Sorry about that. Man, as you know, I have to show some houses today. I have to show a house. And I wanted to get a live stream in because I've been enjoying it and got a lot done this morning already. It's 8:47. I think I did get on at 8, maybe towards the end of 8:45. We'll run this to 9:45. After that, I got to jump in the shower. Yes, I got to jump in the shower and I got to get to my first showing of the day. It's going to be in University City, and boy, I don't even have this one thing done. That's just going to be a mess. So I apologize ahead of time. I let me fix this one thing since I like to get things in order. So if you can see that, it's not good. So I'm going to have to go here. I got to go here, and got to go here. Okay. All right. That's where we're going. Not where we're at right now. So, gosh, good morning. Be curious if, I, you know, I explained yesterday. I said, I have to show these houses, and so normally my day is work in the office during the day, and then at night show houses, and then on the weekends it's show houses on the weekends whenever somebody wants to see it. And I don't. This is how my life is. I work all the time, and if you're not careful, you can certainly. Oh, now I got to go check something else. Just a second. I don't know. I get freaked out when I see my view count. It's not right, and then I got to go look at something else. So anyway, we where was I at? We got a lot going on today, and so I've been concerned the whole time about, hey, what's the best time to do a live stream for real estate? Nobody's really doing real estate live streams, and I don't look at them as like hard news. I look at them more like, hey, here's a story. Let's talk about it. It may or may not be true. I don't have any illusion as to how things are written anymore, or anything like that. But you know, um, it's kind of fascinating. The whole deal is fascinating. So I like I said, I have to get up. I got to go show a house. But where I was going was, when would it be best to have a live stream for everybody? And the best time for me is in the morning because I can control it, in the sense that, like, normally I can make an appointment and be somewhere, if I have a couple days in advance, or if I can just block it off my schedule. So live streams in the morning work really well for me. Live streams in the evening don't work well for me because, number one, at like 10, I'm like a zombie. So it's not good. And then, I can show houses in St. Louis up until about 9 p.m. That's what our lock boxes have. So yeah. I want to say good morning. Thank you for watching. Thank you for supporting me. I think I want to go in the elevator speech because I want to practice it. So my name is John Shank. I'm a real estate broker in St. Louis, Missouri. We also do real estate sales in St. Charles County, Jefferson County, St. Louis City. But that's what I do. Am I a YouTube? Am I a political commentator on YouTube? No. Am I a real estate industry commenter on YouTube? Probably. I think I would go that far. Am I an author? Written some blog posts. I wouldn't say I'm a book writer, but I do want to write a book. I do have some ideas. Wanted to go over some stuff because it makes me laugh. Number one, I don't watch like cable anymore. I have it at the house, but I just spend most of my time with YouTube. I just found that to be more interesting for me. Um, so last night I was at a showing, and my buyer said, "Hey, do you know about this show about this lady in St. Louis that like this is their words. She forces people into buying a house. They have to choose from five, and that's how that goes." And I said, "No, I don't know anything about it." I said, "Who's the agent?" And they said they didn't know either. So um, I get a little nervous because I've seen to do a reality show, okay, on TV. Not a whole lot of reality based on the stuff that I've seen in my lifetime. It's pretty heavily staged in the real estate game. And I'll just give you one example. Let's say you're going to go look at a house, let's say in August of this year, okay? I guarantee you're not looking at 3 houses before they all go under contract. And I guarantee you don't have more than 20 hours to make a decision on whether or not you're going to put an offer. So this show's like, I forgot the one that everybody likes, forgot the name. But where they sit there and they say, "Oh, here's 3 houses, and then you choose one, and then we'll fix it up and make it into your dream home." Well, not in this market, not in St. Louis. Another one, there's these fellas that they're going to fix houses, and so I was watching one day, and I've got 10 years of construction experience for homes, so I said, "Okay, this is interesting." And I was watching them, and they just staged this repair to make it dramatic when it really wasn't something that you would have to do. So that was fake. And then my favorite show is Love It or List It. It was my favorite show, like real estate wise. And there you have like, should I keep my house and should I, add on to it, or should I just go buy a different house? And I found that fascinating. It's the audience is fascinating in those shows because, for an example, I have serious questions on when you get to be like $1 million house, or you can go buy another $1 million house. Like that's not typically who I'm working with. Like that's definitely not an everyday thing. Maybe once a year. And most of the people that I work with in that category would just go buy a different house. They would never add on to their house. And what was weird about that is a lot of times I'd see them fix up a house, and I was like, I don't know that once you fix this house up, you're going to be anywhere close to where you want to be on a sale. So like if you add 5 bedrooms to a house, surely it's worth more money. But at the same time, is there any 5-bedroom homes in the area? I mean, is there any chance of you actually selling this home for getting out from underneath it after you've done all the work on it? And then I did some digging, and there was like 3 or 4 home sales. I'm sorry, not home sales. There were 3 or 4 lawsuits, and I mean, I don't, you can have a lawsuit for anything, so I don't want to criticize anyone for that. But anyway, that was that show. And so anyway, this show, I looked at the lady that was doing the show. I don't know her. Never come across her work. I know a lot of the top agents in St. Louis that are knocking it out of the park, and I didn't see her name on there. So good for her. She has a show. Hopefully it brings her a lot of business and makes her happy. And I don't wish any ill upon anyone that gets marketing for free. I have to be on YouTube live streaming at 9 o'clock in the morning for advertisement. Oh, so what do you got planned today? I did have my plans. I do have my notes. They were They were being done early this morning. Wanted to go and talk about today's showing. So, like pro tip, if you will, like learn about the house before you go. Don't learn about the house before you go so that you can cross it off your list, but just have some idea of what you're looking at. So, well, what as a buyer, what would be some of the things you should probably do before you go buy a house? All right. So, here's what I would do. First, you're going to get if you're working with me, or if you're working, even if you're not, if you're on Zillow or Realtor.com, you're going to have a house that you see, and let's assume that it's available. So the first thing is it available for showings? So a lot of times, if you have a house come up on Monday, it's probably not going to be able to be shown until like Thursday or Friday. So that's issue number one. So let's say that's the situation. So the house is coming available to show on Friday. It's Monday. So what can you do as a buyer to prepare yourself for this showing? Well, number one, first thing I would do is email me and say, hey, do you have any disclosures? So you look at the seller's disclosure. Well, what's the seller's disclosure? The seller's disclosure is simply a document that the seller fills out that says, this is what we know we've done with the property. This is what we think might be wrong with the property. And so we're not trying to surprise you with any sort of crazy things. Now, is the seller's disclosure perfect? No, I have a video on that. And if I were really good tech-wise and this was a regular video and not a stream, I could point to like, say, check out this video here for more information. But the seller's disclosure is not a perfect document for a couple of reasons. One, people lie. Number two, they don't know. They're not experts. For example, if you have, say you have some black stuff growing on your wall, is it mold? Like if you wiped it off with bleach, say you just took bleach and now it's gone. And that was 13 years ago and it never came back. You put that on the disclosure? I guess you do if you want to protect yourself if it comes back, but you don't even know if it was mold or, what it was. It's gone now. This happens, thousands of times in your house. There are things that you get used to in your house that you don't realize are broken. One of the bigger examples is a 3-way light switch. After a while, you just know it's broken, so you stop using it. Use the other one, or the other two. Should you put that on a disclosure that you have a broken 3-way light switch? Yes. But do you know that it's broken, or do you remember it being broken when you filled out this document? No. So it's not perfect. But anyway, here's some of the things I do look for in a seller's disclosure. Number one, I prefer to see ownership, and I prefer to see an ownership period of maybe 3 to 5 years. Private ownership. Why? Well, if you see a fix and flip, okay, that somebody came in and started fixing this house up for some reason. So let's just say a house has a terrible foundation, water leaks in all the time, there's mold everywhere, and it's just disgusting. Okay. Now, somebody buys the house and they fix it up. Oh, it's a nice house now. Well, they've only held the house for maybe 30 days. Maybe it didn't even rain during the time they held the house. 30, 60 days. So then they sell the house after they fixed it up. Do we know if the repairs are any good? No. You say, John, that's ridiculous. Nobody would ever buy a house, fix it up, and then sell it, and the issues not be fixed. Well, I have a current set of sellers right now that are going to be buyers as well, but buyers first, I guess. I have a current set of buyers that's right now dealing with, they bought a house, there was carpet in the basement, everything was nice, it was a fix and flip, and sure enough, the first time it rained, 2 inches of water in the carpet downstairs, and they've never been able to solve the problem. Now, what are we going to do about it? I think we're going to just put in the disclosure that the basement leaks. Just be honest. It's better than the alternative. It's better than, I don't know, do they say you got rooked anymore? Hoodwinked, bamboozled? That's what happens. And is it the agent's fault? Is it the buyer's agent's fault? No. How would they know that there was an issue? Is it the buyer's fault? Well, not really. I mean, they had no idea. I mean, there may have been reason to assume, as it was a fix and flip, that there could be still something wrong. But they may have well gotten inspections. Everybody might have said the house was great. But now they're left holding the bag. Do people like that ever get away? Does the original seller ever get away with stuff like that? Sure. I've noticed that time, how will I say, solves problems in the sense that real estate is kind of a transitory industry. People come and go. People come and go. Why? Because it's hard. And then you say, well, I was on TikTok yesterday and every single TikTok guy is making millions in real estate. Okay, believe that. Believe that if you want. If like, let's just look at it from my perspective. Okay. What if on TikTok the alternative was the main narrative? So what if the alternative was it's really hard to make it in real estate and very few people do? And what if that was every single TikTok you saw? Would that change your opinion of being in real estate? Yeah. Would it keep people from being in real estate? Yeah. So why are we trying to get people in real estate? Well, number one, most of the time, I'm convinced by this, by the way, no one's ever going to change my mind. So if you're in a brokerage, okay, why do you want people to keep being real estate agents? Well, it's this weird thing where I'd say maybe it's not an 80 20 situation where 20% of the group is just, it's not a Pareto principle to me. It's more like this. Out of that 20%, okay, maybe 5% is self-sustainable of real estate agents. So that means they get leads outside of, their family and friends, and they do great. The other 15% of the 20, if you're going to go with the principle, is, well, these people know a lot of people because they're family or friends. And so if you're a brokerage, the marketing's not working, so you might as well just wish for the family and friends to work. So then you get this person, you say, oh, you can make all kinds of money. And then, oh, that's great. And then they say, well, my grandmother's selling their house. Oh, well, great. Now we'll list it with XYZ brokerage. And then after grandma sells her house, now no one's buying a house for a year and you're out of the business, but you did sell one house and your grandma's happy with you, and the broker got their cut, and move on down the road. Kind of a dark view of real estate agents, isn't it? You say, well, maybe it should be. Real estate agents are dumb. They deserve it. It's not really a job. Okay. I mean, can we do that with every single job? I can. I can tell you everything I despise about every job. So I'm trying to think of a job that isn't tainted by some sort of terribleness, but you don't see a lot about it. My stepdaughter, sorry about that, is going to be a travel nurse. She says she wants to be a travel nurse. And I see on TikTok also that, hey, you should be a travel nurse because it makes all kinds of money. So I'm curious to see how that turns out. I'm not in any way, I'm supportive of whatever she chooses to do. So, yeah, and it's like, where are you going to make the argument? Where are you going to make the argument, John? You are in real estate and everyone on TikTok says that you make millions in real estate. What's your problem? So am I going to say to her, oh, well, you're going to make, hundreds of thousands of dollars a year as a travel nurse. So what's your problem? It says that on TikTok. So I have no basis from which to argue the point, in my opinion. So anyway, what should we do? Should we go the showing today? So anyway, we look at the seller's disclosure. That was very long. I'm sorry about that. We look at the seller's disclosure and we say, okay, well, the person has lived in the house for 5 years. They've made X, Y, Z improvements. Then another issue comes into play, and that's, well, what does the listing say on square footage? Because in St. Louis, we're going to play this giant game now about what is the real square footage of a home and what isn't. So if you're in St. Louis, if you're in St. Louis City, okay, and you have a 2-bedroom shotgun home, okay, that's like 1,000 square feet. Well, if you can get an appraiser to say that the top floor that isn't even finished is square footage, because you put a chair up there and maybe a rug, look, you've doubled the size of your home. Now all of a sudden your 1,000 square foot home is a 2,000 square foot home. And will brokers do that? Absolutely. Is it right? No, it's not right. But the other thing is if you go on Zillow, it's an even bigger house because they take all of the living areas. So they take the basement, the upstairs, and the downstairs, and now you're going to get in a 2,500 square foot house. It's the same house. It's been that way for 100 years. It's a 1,000 square foot home, but we're going to add all these things, and then we're going to say, "Oh, this is so great." I hate it. I absolutely hate it. It just drives me out. So anyway, so on the square footage game, so then I get to go and I say, well, the tax records say it's 1,000 square feet, and Zillow says it's 2,500 square feet, and the seller says that it's 2,000 square feet because the appraiser said so. And so now we don't even have a uniform idea of what square footage is. And because it's gotten so bad, and because it's been so blatant, some of the brokerages actually have a disclosure that says we don't know how to calculate square footage, so don't use square footage as our as the benchmark for buying this home. And why did the one particular brokerage do that? Well, they got sued hard. They lost. So that's why they do it. But it doesn't make it complicated. It just makes your industry look bad. That's all it does. I'll never forget. And this is a great conversation for a live stream. Let's go over life as a real estate agent, John Shank style. So I have a newsletter I send out. I got a call off the newsletter, nice lady, who said she was a real estate agent in Omaha, Nebraska, and she moved here, to St. Louis. She moved into my part of Afton, where I live, and she said we have a little contest, and she won the contest, and we talked, off and on. Everything was great. One time during I think it was Christmas Day, she's like, "Hey, I want to go see this house that's down the street. It's 1,800. Want to see this house?" So I looked on the tax records. It's 800 square feet. I had not sent her any listings prior to this. So Christmas Day. Now, should I be working on Christmas Day? No, I shouldn't. Do I? Yes, because I'm not good at not working for the most part. So I go show this house on Christmas Day. We go over and see it. She's like, this seems pretty small. I go, yeah, it's 800 square feet. She said the listing on Zillow says it's 1,800 square feet. I said, it's not. It's not it's 800 square feet. You can see it. You're here. Look how small it is. She's like, all I can think about now, looking back, is she was embarrassed. She called me and she wanted to go see a house on Christmas Day. You know what she did? That one experience soured her so badly that she used someone else to list her house and move out of the state. She moved to Illinois. Now, of all the people involved, why was I the one that incurred the wrath from the buyer? I didn't list the property that she was looking at that was 800 square feet. Okay. I did not put the listing in there in Zillow for 1,800 square feet. I did not make fun of the woman for making a mistake that many, many people make. Okay. I did not do anything wrong other than, anything wrong. In fact, I went out of my way to help this woman see this home that she wanted to see. Now you say, well, John, you could have made money on the sale of those. Well, if you want to go with that direction, most of the time, it's happened maybe twice in my life where someone has actually gone and bought the first house they saw. So no, that wouldn't work. So that, I knew I was throwing that time away. And then to not even call me and then move out just shows you the level of care that people have for real estate agents. You're a dog, basically. You're not even worth me calling you when I list my house. I'll just go list with somebody else. Like, you're a commodity. There's 8,000 of you. And that's the approach now. Is it good? I don't know. It just is what it is. Does that make me hardened and bitter towards people? It wouldn't just be one incident. Let's put it that way. And the most rewarding part about my job, honestly, is some of the friendships I've made and some of the time I've been able to spend with people during some of the more exciting periods of their lives. So, if you buy your first home, okay, it's it's this idea of promise. It's this idea of optimism. You're buying a home together. You're going to move in together. Things are good. You're going to start your family in this home. Like, it's good to be a part of that. Now, it's a downside when you have to list a house where someone's died. That's no good. That's kind of depressing. But, if the new buyers buy it and they fix it up and they like it, hey, it's okay. But anyway, so we check the square footage. We check the, do we check the listing price? I check what the house was bought for. Like, there was a house in St. Louis City here just maybe a month ago. The guy bought it for $300 and he was listing it for $460, and it was a fix and flip. And, it's designed perfectly. It's designed for you to, to buy right away. But I'm not going to pay a premium. I don't want my buyers to pay a premium just because you have staging on a fix and flip. It's not worth it to me. So anyway, so you look, do you care about the pictures? I don't care about the pictures so much online because I know they can be manipulated by the agents, and it's gamesmanship, and I don't have a criticism for that. So then at that point, some of the things you can do as a buyer, now you've got your disclosure, you have a pretty good idea on the tax records, the square footage, or like, hey, this is something we should look for when we go to the house. What can you do next? Well, what I like to do is Google Maps. I like to type in the address, and I like to go kind of walk around the street just to see if there's anything like a gas station or, a public school, or is there something on, and it's not a criticism on a public school, but is there something that causes a lot of traffic and can cause issues at certain points of time in the day? Parents picking up their kids can be a huge parking and street nightmare. But I mean, that's just an example. So then I walk there, and so will I disqualify a home just based on the fact that it is close to like someplace where it's very, very busy or something? No. But I'm thinking in my head about the pricing. The other thing about the pricing is I've never ever gone to a house, honestly, and I've been to hundreds of thousands by now. Been to a lot of houses. 15 years of real estate. A lot of houses. I've never been to a house where I walked in, no matter what the asking price was, and said, damn, this price is too low. We have to jump. We have to get this house immediately. We have to sign the contract right now. There's not been one time in the hundreds of thousands of houses I've gone to. What does that mean? Well, it means to me that, price is kind of, I don't know, subjective. Let's go with that. Price is subjective. The other thing is, what difference does it make what the asking price is when you go to a house? You say, well, John, if the asking price is too high for a house, we're not going to buy it. We can't afford it. Well, that's okay. Point taken. But let's say you can't afford whatever price the house is listed at. Then what? Like, what difference does the price make then? You say, well, then we'll know what to offer. Well, I have no idea what to offer. I've not been in the house before. I don't want to make an offer on something I've not seen. And then you say, well, we got to know, if they're asking what if they're asking too much? What if they're asking too much? We don't buy the house. We don't put in an offer, but we don't know that until we've gone to the house. And we don't really know what the house is like until we see the house for ourselves. Pictures are not a good indicator of what the house looks like, for the most part. You can't tell construction quality in a picture. So these are issues. So now we've gone on Google Maps. We've driven around. We've checked the tax records. We've checked the seller's disclosure. Lead-based paint, if it's built before 1977, it's going to have lead-based paint in it. Deal with it. That's kind of how we do that document. Now, what else can we do? Well, we could Google the address. Okay. So if we Google the address, maybe something comes up. Maybe there was a murder at the house. Well, maybe it'll come up. Do I care if there's a murder at the house? I don't particularly care if there was a murder at the house. I don't care what happened. Buying somebody else's house is kind of what we do. So we don't worry about that, but somebody might. Then Do we go on Facebook and start stalking, trying to find the owner's name and trying to stalk them? No, no, we don't do that. Why? Because it's weird. I mean, I realize it's 2021. Um, I even like last month, I had a lady that a nice buyer, and she got the owner's name, and she's checking them out on Facebook, and it's like she's calling them by their first name. Like, we're gonna go see Michael's house, and she did it for fun because I told her not, I told her about this stuff, but anyway, uh, you know, I think there was one time where there was, oh, they're getting a divorce. It's like, you know, oh, they're getting a divorce so we can buy the house cheap. It's like, no, no, no. They have a real estate agent. They're not going to just sell it because they can get, they may hate each other, but they're not going to take a discount on their house. So I don't know. I don't do the Facebook thing. So what else do you do? Well, why don't we do one of two things? We can go drive the neighborhood to see if it's actually someplace we'd want to live. Like even last night, it was a house in Webster Groves. Well, what I think of as Webster Groves and what Webster Groves really is are two different things. And let me say that in a way that's hopefully not negative to Webster Groves, Missouri, because I like Webster Groves. I think of Webster Groves, if you go down a certain street, there you're in Webster Groves. If you're at Webster University, you're in Webster Groves. Okay? I know that's just the way I think. Now, you could be in Shrewsbury, which is not Webster Groves, but Shrewsbury is Webster Groves School District, or Afton in one street. But we know these things, right? We're real estate agents. We have this figured out. But there's a certain part of Webster that I don't think of as Webster. And you say, well, what is it? Maybe Maplewood. I don't know. I don't really, it's not, there's nothing wrong with it. It's just not it's not what I think of as Webster. So how do you so when you see a listing and it says it's in Webster Groves and you see a map and you're not 100% familiar, who's that familiar with Webster Groves? Make sure that you drive the area. Go drive the area. See if it's where you really want to live. Can you picture yourself getting up and going to work from this home? And look at the outside and slow down when you drive by. And if the owners are outside, stare at them and see if you like the owners from the beginning. I mean, if you didn't, say the owners look like they're on meth, okay? Well, maybe you don't want to buy their house just for that reason. Don't stop and talk to them or anything like that. Just, drive by and, just see what you think of the house. It's going to look different than what you saw in the pictures. If there's a tree in the way of I've got this one beautiful home I managed to work with some buyers to buy in University City, and it's just a beautiful home, and no one notices it because there's a big ass tree on the side of the sidewalk that is not theirs. They don't own it, so it covers up any picture you take of the house. And so it's like, but when you actually go to the house, you can see it from different angles, and it's just a gorgeous home. I don't know if I love that home more than the buyers do or not. There's something about it that is just wonderful. So anyway, so now you've driven by. Now you say, John, why do I have to drive by if you're going to drive by, if we're going to go like 3 days from now? Well, if you don't like the lot, and if you don't like the house, you're not going to want to buy it. So why are we wasting our time? That's the way I think about it now. Does that make me a bad person? I don't know. It really does help. When I looked at my own house, okay, when I went to buy my own house, we looked at, 15 houses and, just driving by, and you'd see a house and it was listed for this price, and then you drive to the neighborhood and say, no, I'm not living here for this. Not going to do it. Not interested. I like some of these houses, like not as a complaint, but one instance is you drive down. What if there's like $60,000 homes, even in this market? $60,000 homes, you have to drive through that street just to get to your street where your house is worth $350,000. Does that make you want to live there? No, not me. You can. The other thing is you see these houses and they're on these nice lots and everything looks nice. Well, there's also a train like 3 houses down, train track. Do you want to live there for any number? I mean, some people, maybe it doesn't bother them. It bothers me. Can't stand the idea of being woke by a train. course, I'm sleeping pretty heavy lately, so I guess I wouldn't have to worry about it. Anyway, so, those are the things you can do ahead of time. Do you look up the people on CaseNet and see if they're career criminals? No. No, you don't get that far. There's no point. Okay? There's no point to get that far. Just do some basic things. That's all. That's all. So I've seen people criticize the idea of driving by a house before you see it. And I'm like, they say, "Oh, your agent's just being lazy." No, I really do think 50% of the opportunity to buy the house is based on the lot. So let's go into yesterday's showing in Webster Groves and see what happens. So what did we do wrong on the Webster Groves? Well, I got there. My buyer said, "I'm not interested in this house." I pulled up, said hello. "We're not interested in this house." I said, "Well, now that we're here, we might as well look." "So why don't you like this house?" "Well, there's a hill." Okay. That's true. There's a hill. I mean, I can't deny that. So they walk up. I mean, it's ridiculous. And I almost think that the seller's agent knew it was ridiculous because they put the super on the back door. So you didn't have to walk up all the steps to the house. Tricky. So anyway, we walked through the house. It's a very nice house. The owners had lived there for, I think, 10 years, done a lot of work to it. They designed it in their own style. They had some, what I would say, colorful decisions on the walls. Not something I would have chosen, and probably would have told my sellers to maybe tone it down a little bit on listing it. But it is what it is. What rooms really matter to a buyer? Well, I feel like I know. One, the kitchen. If your kitchen's I don't care if you live in a $600,000 house. If your kitchen's 4x4, it's kind of a downer. The number of bathrooms typically doesn't matter as long as it's more than one, but size does. It'd be nice to be in a bathroom that's bigger than 2x2. So if you could get the kitchen right and if you could get the bathroom right, okay, then is there a room we can hang out in, like 10x10, or it needs to be bigger than that? Maybe 20x20, 20x15? Is there a room we can hang out in a living room? And is it relatively close to the kitchen so that we can be preparing food and come out and talk to our friends while we're having a good time? And then other than that, the biggest problem with this home for us was it's unseasonably warm last night. And actually last like 3 days in St. Louis have been unseasonably warm. So when you go to the attic and they've added, a bathroom and 2 bedrooms and the master's in the attic, it was really hot up there. And it's only going to get worse during the summer. So that wasn't a good feeling. Plus the way the ceiling came down and was cut up, like the way they had to do it for the roof, there were some areas where I was going to hit my head, they were going to hit their head, and it wasn't going to work. So, and then because it was a remodeled house, there was this, it was cut up. The house was cut up. And so, honestly, it was not going to work for my buyers no matter what the price was, which is why I wanted to tell you about why I don't really pay too much attention to the asking price before I go, because this house wasn't going to work for my buyer at any price. Didn't really matter what it was listed for. Anyway, I did see something cool, and I wanted to go over that. Have you ever? Well, one of the jokes I have when I go to a house is they taught me as a real estate agent. They taught me how to work keys and locks. It's a joke. The automatic locks I'm okay with as long as I know ahead of time like what I have to press and like if I have to press enter or not. If I just press the code, that's fine. Or if I have to press the code and enter, that's fine. But I just need to know if I didn't hit that enter button or if it's just going to be. But that's the automatic locks. And then when I used to play around in the investment pool, you'd go look at foreclosures, and one of the funniest tricks I've seen that I don't do myself and don't think it's ethical is there's two ways you can postpone. Let's say you want to buy a house and And I'm trying to put this in a way that's it's to me. I mean, I understand it, and I know what they're doing. Uh, I don't think it's right. Let's. I don't think it's really gamesmanship either. But you go so, and I just picked up on this when I was messing around with foreclosures. So when you go to a foreclosure, and let's say it's an institutionally owned home, obviously because it's a foreclosure. So there's these companies that's all they do. They list foreclosures, and their job is to service the foreclosure. And it's a good niche business, a niche business for people in real estate. I don't want to have anything to do with it. I don't want that responsibility. But anyway, uh, let's say you price this thing super low, and you get 1,000 people want to come through the house, and well, what they'll do unscrew, and they'll be on a lockbox too. That's the other fun. So you got this on a lockbox, and so they break the key off in the lock, so you can't get in. So they walk through. They're like, "This is the house we want to buy." Crack, leave. It'll take, with the key being broke off in the lock, it'll take 6 to 8 hours, maybe even another day, before you can get out there and get a locksmith out there and fix it. And by that time, you've got your offer in, and you've now limited the amount of showings. Not nice to do, but it's been done. Other thing people do is this is for a Supra. They'll take the Supra, which is an automated lock. Okay, they'll take what I would call the cradle, which is the part that holds the key. You put that inside and then lock the door. Just do the bottom latch. Can't get in the house. Now whoever comes after you isn't going to see the house. I have never done this, just so you know. I try to be on the up and up, but I have seen it done, and I think it's terrible. But funny too, in a way, because just to me, ill-gotten gains aren't worth having. Great, you did that so that you could get the house. Great, not for me. Anyway, this lock was fascinating because I don't normally. I mean, sometimes you have to throw your shoulder into a door. Sometimes you have to, just get that key just right in there. Some you have to turn and press the button at the same time, which, I've been through this enough with the keys and the locks. But last night was a new one. When I went to lock it, I could not figure out how to lock it. I turned the key and it wouldn't do anything. Turns out, and this is great, turns out if you push down, that opens it. As long as it's not in the lock position. Pull up, locks. It's a latch. If you pull up on the latch, it pulls the deadbolt across and locks. Oh, that's pretty interesting. I don't know how. You have to turn the key at the bottom just to get it to the locks. So it's kind of weird. But anyway, it worked, and good for them. Will they sell their house for the asking price? I suspect so. One of the things that I've noticed, if you are a young family doing well, and you go to a house where someone has had children, and they're still young and they still have their little children's room, so they have like a pink bedroom with all kinds of toys and stuff, and it looks good. Or a little boy's room, and it's the blue room, and it's young people that are thinking about having a family, they see that and it's just like, let me buy this house today, and that's at any price. I mean, it's really something. My buyers are in their 50s and they're not interested in any of that stuff. It doesn't sway them at all, so it didn't work for them. But will that house sell? Absolutely. It just wasn't for my buyers. So the house today is in University City. University City is a strange place to me. I'm just going to leave it at that. If you look at online, if you ever look around for something called the Delmar Divide, that's part of University City. There's a Costco a development going in that's iffy to me. There's some things about universities. Part of university, anyway. It's an interesting place. I don't hate it, but it's interesting. Anyway, we'll go there, and I'm a little bit on as far as the lot is on two main streets, two busy streets, so I don't have too high of hopes. But we go and we look and we see what happens, and we go from there. So then tonight, my wife loves the Hallmark Channel, and I love the fact that she loves something. I mean, I it's I don't know. I do like to eat, but it's got to be a certain restaurant. It's got to be a certain thing. So, um, anyway, I'm looking forward to going. I like the fact that she likes Hallmark. It makes her happy. That makes me happy. Okay, so they have all these things in Hallmark, like in Halloween. It's like all this families. They go to a pumpkin carving contest, and then you know how Hallmark is. I think so. For me, I'm going to go, and she wants to go walk through this historical Kimmswick. If you've ever, well, you look that up in Google too. Look at Kimmswick. It's right on the river. It gets flooded like once every 3 or 4 years. All the stores get flooded. Got a really nice restaurant, the Blue Owl. It's got another nice restaurant now. I don't remember the name of it, but it's like this little town, and not little town. It's maybe 2 acres. These little houses, and you walk around, and these little streets, and there's little shops, and it's a cool place. It's I wouldn't say it's like the Plaza in Kansas City. It's not that kind of development, but there's a uniqueness to it that's nice. And I think, the big thing that holds it back, obviously, is every time they kind of get some momentum, it floods. And then the other thing is, we have changed the way we shop. Not to be negative, but like there used to be, you could go and you could find like knickknacks and stuff like that, and every different store there would have different stuff. But now everything's made in China, and the stuff that isn't made in China is there, and there's a lot of it. But you can only really those rubber band guns that are made with wood. You ever seen those? Like, it's like you can only buy one, really. You don't need more, and so it's hard to do retail now with Amazon, and kettle corn is. I don't want to buy kettle corn. That's just me. Again, welcome to buy it anywhere you'd like. If they brought food trucks down, it might be cool, but then it would take away from some of the restaurants. And plus, it's hard you can't park there anyway. And I don't know. It's really an interesting place. I take Google Maps, walk around. And then they just opened this, I think I'm going to call it a pier. I don't know if it's a pier. But they spent a lot of money, and now like riverboats can dock there. So I don't know. She's going to enjoy it. That's what we're going to do tonight. What else do we have on the list? So, oh yeah. So I told you yesterday I got these headphones. They're Bluetooth headphones, and they do plug in. I was working on them this morning, which was a mistake because I should have concentrated on the show prep. But when you plug it in, it works, but not really well. It's better on Bluetooth, so I'm looking forward to getting the Bluetooth, getting that done. What else? I got more things. Oh shoot, I hit the wrong button. I'm sorry. Okay, so I did want to go over inventory. Still is very, very tight. So I have these buyers that would buy a house tomorrow if they could just get one to come up. 2,400 square feet in Jefferson County, real 2,400 square feet, less than 500,000. Hard to find. I want to go over some articles. I know I'm running out of time today, so let's go over some articles. Let me switch over to screen share. I thought these would be interesting to go over. One, here's how inflation is affecting the home prices, what buyers and sellers need to know right now. This is on Realtor.com, and it says inflation is a red hot topic. It was written the 2nd of December right now, and for good reason. The annual inflation rate rose to an alarming 6.2%. That's the highest it's been since 1990, over 30 years ago, and a steep uptake from the manageable 2% we've enjoyed the past 5 years. Inflation is a killer. You should be very, very worried about the inflation, but whatever. This means Americans are shelling out more money for just about everything from gas in your tank to your heating bills to groceries and more. Our money simply doesn't go as far as it used to. So yes, inflation is bad. So what's the impact of inflation on housing? Not surprisingly, inflation is influencing the real estate market in a big way too. According to a study, residential real estate historically been an investment safe haven during inflationary periods. Researchers found that during the 70s, home prices rose relative to the size of the economy. This was good news for homeowners and real estate investors since it meant their homes' rising value helped offset the rising prices elsewhere. If you were shopping for a new home, though, this was a major challenge, and the same may hold true today. So I reject this idea that, okay, because inflation's happening and because you own a home, well, it doesn't hurt you because you're going to be able to sell your home for more money. My argument is, but the value of my home or the money that I'm getting isn't worth as much as I put into the home in the first place. Now, I don't understand why anyone thinks that inflation is any way good for real estate. I mean, really, that's me. But I mean, I didn't go to Stanford, so Okay, so what is inflation? I says let's just go simply. Simply put, inflation is when prices of goods and services rise, thereby decreasing the purchasing power of the money you have to spend. Now, this is where it gets to BS. It says right now several factors are contributing to inflation. First, consider the impact of government aid during the COVID-19 pandemic. Well, yes, but it's also modern monetary theory. And we don't know for sure. We'll never know. As the number of transactions drop, business owners raise their prices to float to make ends meet. I don't know. It says another factor, supply chain issues occurring around the globe. I don't care. There's all kinds of problems. Okay. And then we've got Lawrence Yun, never a guy that's going to miss a quote. It says there's a worker shortage. Companies are raising wages to address that, but consequently also raising prices. Yeah. Why aren't people wanting to go to work? Yeah. We're not going to talk about that, though. We're going to pretend that doesn't exist. And then, it says inflation exacerbates housing demand imbalance, or housing demand supply imbalance, which means even higher prices for housing. People think, I need a hedge against inflation. Housing has traditionally been a long-lived, durable asset. Yeah. No, everything is being destroyed systematically. It's pretty impressive. White also says there's a serious zoning construction problem throughout much of the U.S., making the market even tougher for people to buy and rent. Land use restrictions, whether the size of a lot that a single-family house can go on or multifamily rental or condo property, is further restricting supply. Yes, this has been true for 20 years, and no one cares. No one cares. No one wants to do anything about it. Not in my backyard. And let's not even kid ourselves. We talked about it. 5% to 7% of the market is now being single-family homes built solely for the use of being rentals by institutional investors. I mean, this is very evil stuff going on, but we'll pretend that it's not true or that we didn't see it. What does it mean to home buyers and sellers? Well, this is stupid. This is stupid. Okay, right now, and this is good. This is good. It says. Fed has been a principal purchaser of mortgage-backed securities, but that will wind down April 22, driving rates higher. By late November, Freddie Mac rates went up 3.1%, meaning that today's buyers of medium-price home will spend $160 a month more on their mortgage payment, which is a noticeable impact. Okay, but let's talk about this. And this is what I'm concerned about. Let's say you buy a house, or let's say a house is $200,000, okay, and your mortgage is 2%, so 2.9%, 30-year fixed, okay, and now the house moves to $300,000, and the number stays the same for the interest rate. Well, that's great, right? Well, what happens to new buyers when the interest rates goes to 4, to 5, to 6%? All of a sudden, they can't afford the $300,000 home. Okay, so now you've got a double whammy. You've got inflation taking the home price higher, and then you've got interest rates going higher, making the ability to purchase the higher home price impossible. This is where we might be heading. I'm not going to sit here and say, "Oh, it's definitely going to happen." Okay, just be aware it could happen, and then when that does happen, it's going to be terrible, absolutely terrible. We're going to have a big, big mess. But you know what I've noticed? Like, let's 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 talk about this. I got about 5 minutes before I'm going to head out on my stream. So here, let's talk about this. We're going to stay on this article only. I'm going to go back here. When I go to Walmart, I don't see, like, I want to buy motor oil. I don't see motor oil on the shelves. Okay. When I want to buy food, I don't see food on the shelves. Okay. I don't see it when I go to my Walmart. Okay. When I have a friend who is politically motivated, goes to Walmart, number one, they don't go to Walmart because it's beneath them. Number two, they, even if they saw empty shelves at Target, because if you don't, it's like a virtue signal. You can't go to Walmart, but you can go to Target. When you go to Target, then if you see empty shelves, you say, well, those aren't there. I didn't see that. I've seen posts about people say, oh, they say, what are we doing with, there's nothing on the shelves. And then they'll dutifully say, oh, you're crazy. You can buy anything you want to. Everything's great. And so that's where we've gotten, is even if you physically see something, other people are going to say it's not true. Okay. So, that's a problem. It doesn't matter if it's caused by the supply chain, doesn't matter if it's caused by inflation, doesn't matter if it's caused by anything. Fact is, I can't go buy goods and services and I'm inconvenienced by that. Okay. You say, well, I'm so sorry you're inconvenienced by that. Somebody in, Brazil is dying because of hunger. Yes, fine. We can do the relativist argument all you want to. Okay, that's totally fine with me. But my issue is this. It's gotten to the point where if you like, I don't agree with this. Okay. In my entire life, we've never had shortages like we do now. Okay. I think it's absolutely ridiculous. I've never seen beef prices the way they are right now. Okay. In my life, 44 years old. It's unacceptable to me. Unacceptable. Can't stand it. Yet there's people out there that say everything's fine. There's no issues whatsoever. Just keep on keeping on. And so if we're at that point as a society where we can't even agree that the supply chain, or we can't even agree that there's nothing on the shelves, then how do we move forward when you can't see it? You stay with your tribe and you say, oh, this is everything's fine, everything's great. I don't know what you're talking about. So even if something happens in the future, people will deny that it's happening. That's frightening, but true. We talk about history. It's very interesting. We talk about history. Scott Adams wrote a book, and the cartoonist, but he wrote about history is the story of who won. Like, so the Civil War is who won the Civil War. That's the history written. In my life, I had not seen this ability to rewrite history as I live it. So, as an example, like, well, what's happening now is the Iraq War. I mean, I supported the Iraq War, and I feel terrible about it. I thought that it was a good thing. Here's where I missed. I thought that for some reason the State Department and enough money would rebuild a community that was going to be destroyed by our bombs. I thought it was going to be a better life for those people. That's what they told me. And don't forget, Colin Powell said that there was going to be weapons of mass destruction there. And he held up his little vial at the UN. He said, this much can kill 1 million people. Never found any. Bad. Not good on the Iraq War. So is history being rewritten there? Well, in some sense, I don't think anybody goes around going, that was a good idea. Now, but there were many people that did during the time. And similarly, during this instance here where we've got shortages, people are going to say that there aren't any shortages. If house prices go out of whack, or if the housing market collapses, people say that the housing market is fine. Look, you can get a good deal. I mean, the way people are doing things now is so deceitful. It's kind of fun to watch, but I won't get into it too much other than to say that. And then um, let me go back to the article. It says, I'm just going to stay. You're not going to get to read it, but how long will inflation last? Well, you know what? No one knows. Okay. What about hyperinflation? So I'm done with the article. I'm sorry. How does inflation affect home prices? Well, it makes the price of the house goes up, and your purchasing power is less. So there. Did you even need an article for that? It's on Realtor.com, which I think they do a fine job on articles. To be honest with you, I'm gonna work more with that information. That's all I have for you today. Obviously I'd love to have people come chat, but 8:45 on a Saturday morning, I don't think there's going to be too many people out. I will try to do a video this afternoon, and that's where I'm at. And we're going to Kimmswick. So anyway, hope you have a good day. I hope everything goes well for you. I hope you're able to live the dream, and thank you for watching. I don't know if I'll stream tomorrow, but I kind of like to stream. I don't know. I can't explain it, but I kind of like it. So I might. And anyway, I'll catch you tomorrow.